All right, here we go. Our next CSS assignment is CSS number 8 about CSS and pages. And I'm going to show you what I want you to work on here. If you are on Google Classroom, there is a help page right here. It's the Google Doc. You can pull that up. Looks like this. And the one thing that it is kind of good for, I think, is it shows one way, or it talks about one way you can do this assignment. And there's an upside to doing it this first way, and there's a downside as well. And then if you scroll the handout on down, it shows another way that you could attack this assignment. And of course, like everything else, there's an upside to doing it this way, and there's a downside. So you will have to decide which way you want to do it. And in my recording here, in my demo, I'm going to show you both of those ways, so you don't have to rely on the handout. If you watch this recording, it should be okay. So here's the link to the code that we're going to use today. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and as always, I'll do View Code down at the bottom, and I will do Remix up at the top up here so that we can get to work on editing. Let's take a quick look at what we've got. This one is about the Three Stooges. Anybody ever see the Three Stooges? I used to watch them all the time. There is a home page, which you're looking at right now. There, and the Three Stooges, and you can see it on this image. They were slapstick comedy guys. I don't know if you've ever watched them before or not, but Moe, Larry, and Curly. And so there's a page about Moe right there, and so it has a heading, and it has an image, and it has a paragraph. And there's a page about Larry, and same thing, it has a heading, and it has an image, and it has a paragraph about Larry. And there's a page about Curly, and it has a heading, an image, and a paragraph. They're all very similar structure. And then the home page has a heading and an image and a paragraph. So they all kind of have a heading, image, and paragraph. There's also links up at the top of every page, so that's part of the HTML coding that's going on there as well. Now here's the thing. There's no styling on this at all. If we were to go to the style.css page, and I'm going to pull this over so we can see a little bit of both, and there's really nothing on the style.css page at all. So your job here is to style up this this is, let's call it a small website, shall we? It's a little 4-page site about the Three Stooges. So let's call it a small website. And you have to style this so that every page has some styling. The home page, the Moe page, the Larry page, the Curly page. Now, what this gets down to, the big question that you're going to have here is, so can I write a set of style rules that apply to every page and just be done? The answer to that is yes. There's a way to do it. Or would I rather have kind of separate pages, separate style rules for each separate page? Do I want the Moe page to have its own set of rules and the Larry page to have its own set of rules? Now, that would take a lot more work, but it would give each page a different appearance. So that's kind of where the whole downside and upside comes. And I know what I think you're going to pick. I think you'll probably go the route that takes less work, but that's totally okay. All right, so anyway, I'm going to go back to, I've got the home page showing, and I'm going to go back to the style.css, and let's go to work on, and I'm just going to quickly write at least a little bit of, I don't know that I'm going to do a lot in this movie, but let's make some rules for H1 headings. So I think I'll go color, colon, let me just stick a color on there, stick a semicolon on there, and then use the lightning bolt for that. You know what, I might just keep it black. I might make sure I just set the color at black for those H1 headings, and I'll close that. But then I think I might also, and you get in there and style it up the way you want, right? I might throw an underline on that, and I'll put a semicolon on that, and I might also just throw in a font dash family and do a sans serif style of font. All right, so I just wrote a rule for the H1 heading, right? And you can probably kind of see it taking effect over here. It's black, it's underlined, and I did the sans serif font family. Okay, all right, now, so let's go ahead. You know what, I'm also going to do this. Let's change background color. Up here on the body thing here, let's change, I don't really want like a pinkish color, but I might go with some kind of bluish color now, more. Oh, I'm just so picky. Sorry. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll go with that. That's good. All right, so I just made a change on background color, right? All right, so let's do. I'm going to do something for IMG. There's some images on that page, so maybe let's give it a border, and I'll give it a border style, and I think I'll just do a solid border around that image, and maybe I'll do a border dash width, and give it maybe like a 5-pixel border. And again, I know I say this a lot, but do your own thing. You don't have to do it just like me. Do what you feel like you want to do. Border dash radius, and I think I might give it a 10-pixel radius so you get some curved corners on there. And you know what? I could throw a drop shadow filter on there if I wanted to, but this is a demo, so I'm going to move on. And I'm going to real quick write paragraphs here. So I'll do P, and got my curly brackets there. And let's do something for the paragraphs. I think I'll give them a border style. And I'm just going to go, I like solid. That's just, and I'm going to give it a background color. All right, background color, and I want something just kind of, and again, I'm going to do that whole, just pick a color and then use the lightning bolt, because I just want kind of a light gray for my background there. And I'm going to do a couple other things. I think I'll do a font dash family, and we'll go with some monospace font there. I'm going to do a font dash size, and I'm going to make it 16 pixels, so that's a little bit bigger. I'm going to throw in some padding. I want some padding on this. I'm going to do 5 pixels of padding. I just changed my mind. I'm going to do 10 pixels of padding on that. Okay, that's starting to look, pretty decent. So anyway, exactly how you style it is your call. It's up to you. You could also write some style rules for the anchors if you wanted to. Sorry, we got an announcement going on there. You could also write some style rules for the anchors if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to in this demo. I want to try to keep this as short as I can, so I'm not going to write any style rules for the anchors, but you could, right, if you want to do that. Okay, now here's where we get into the final part of this. You remember that I said to complete this assignment, what you have to do is have styling on every page. Okay. Now let's go slow and think this through. I just wrote a bunch of style rules on this page right here that's called style.css. And the page that I'm looking at right now is the index.html. That's the page that you're seeing where it says the Three Stooges and has a paragraph and everything. And the rules that I wrote are working. You see that? Okay. Now, look, if I click on the link for Mo, look at the Mo page. If I click on the link for Larry, if I click on the link for Curly, but if I go back home, okay, now wait a second. Something's going on here, because the home page or the index page, the index.html, all the style rules are working, but they're not working anywhere else. If I go to the Mo page, they don't work. If I go to the Larry page, they're not. Go to the Larry page. If I go to the Larry page, they don't work. If I go to the Curly page, they don't work. All right, well, let's look at why. Here's why. And this is something code.org kind of does on its own, and you wouldn't have necessarily known this unless you just know these things and you pay attention to them. And I'm going to pull this over a little bit now because I want to stretch this out some. On code.org, whenever you get there and you start working with the index.html page, there is a command up here at the top that looks like this. It says link rel equals style sheet href equals style.css. It's inside the head of the document. Right? We did all of our HTML coding in the body of the document. This link statement is in the head of the document. And here's what it does. This means that there is a link between the index.html page, that's the page I'm looking at, and the page called style.css. There's a link between them. And the REL kind of means this. You can this kind of helps you think about it. They're in a relationship, right? They're talking. They're in a relationship. That's what REL means. There's a relationship between this index.html page and this page right here. And what is that relationship? Well, the style.css is it's the index page's style sheet. The index page gets all of its style rules from this page. That's what this command, this bit of code, that's what it means. The index.html and the style.css are linked together. And how are they linked together? Well, the style.css is the style sheet for the index.html. It holds all of the style rules. It's called external CSS if you want to know that kind of thing. Now, here's the kicker. Remember, if I click on the Mo link here and I go to the Mo page, all the rules don't work. Here's why. Right now, we are looking at, here, this is the mo.html. It's the page called mo.html. And here is all the HTML. Let's make it work. But look up here in the head of the document. Look at that. Do you see that link command? You don't, because it's not there. Well, so isn't there a really simple solution to this? See, the Mo page needs to be linked. In order for the style rules to work, the Mo page needs to be linked to that style.css. They have to be in a relationship. They have to be linked together. Well, how can we make that happen? Well, it seems to me like we could just go back to index.html, take this command right here, copy it, Control C, go over to the Mo page, paste it, and now all of a sudden, look, the Mo page, mo.html, that's the name of the page, mo.html is now connected to the style.css. And look, all of the rules are now working. They all apply. There's that blue background. There's the border around the picture. There's the border around the paragraph. The H1 heading is behaving the way the rules tell it to behave because they are now linked. That's the key. Well, all right, so does it make sense to you that we would probably have to do the same thing to the Larry page and the curly page? Right? Because we do if we want there to be styling on those pages. We have to connect them. They're not connected right now. If I click on the Larry link, and right now I'm looking at the Larry page, here is all of the HTML, all the links, the H1, the image, the paragraph, that's all the HTML for the Larry page. Look up in the head of the Larry page. Well, it doesn't have that link. So I'm just going to paste it in. Boom. Oh, look, bingo. As soon as I make that connection, as soon as I link the page to the style.css, and look at what that looks like. Bracket link rel equals style sheet href equals style.css. This tells it which page to look at right here. Where do I get the rules for my styling? Right there on style.css. All right, so now if I go to the curly page, it seems logical to me now that I got one more to go, right? Because the rule for the assignment today is all of these pages have to be styled. Well, so here's one solution. I'm on the curly page. I get up here in the head of the document. It's got to be in the head of the document up there. And I paste that in. Oh, man, look. Now all of the pages are following the same style rules. They all have that blue background. The H1 headings all have that underline. And the images all have that black border. The paragraphs all have a light gray background, and the monospace font. Everything that I wrote in the style rules is working on every page because now they are all linked. Before, they weren't, but now they are. That is the assignment today. You got to write. I had to write those rules. They weren't there. Right, so I had to come along and I had to write those rules on the style.css, but I really only had to write them once. And then I had to take on that index page, I had to take this command right here, this link, rel equals style sheet, href equals style.css, copy that, get it on all the other pages, the curly.html, the larry.html, the mo.html. Now they're all connected. Now, I am going to show you, and I don't mean to confuse you here, but I'm going to show you another. This is a different version of it, okay? So I'm going back and I'm clicking on a different version. It's the same, sort of the same idea, but it's a different version. And I want to show you something. All right, so I'm on the home page, and you see what it looks like. Okay, if I click on the Larry page, that has the same kind of look to it. It looks pretty much like the home page. If I click on the curly page, that has the same kind of look to it. If I click on the Mo page, wait a second. When I went to that Mo page, I clicked on the link for the Mo page, and it has a completely different look. Compare them again. Let me go to Larry. Look, the background is different. The way the image looks is different. The paragraphs look different. I'm switching back and forth between Mo and Larry. Mo and Larry. Well, now, how did that happen? How did Mo here, in this example, this is different than the one I showed you a minute ago. This is kind of, I'm showing you the other way you could do this. How did this Mo page get a whole different set of rules? How does that work? Well, here's how that works. If you want to, and you don't have to, but you can if you want to, there's a button up here that says Add CSS. And you can add, you're not limited to one CSS page. Like right here, you see this one right here. This is one, I'll get it out in a minute. This is called style.css, and it has all of these rules that are set up a certain way. Okay, style.css. Okay. And if you go look at like the index page and you look at its link, okay, it says, okay, your style sheet is the one called style.css. That's kind of what that command is saying right there. So the index page is following all the rules that you would find on style.css. But let's go look at the page that's called mo.html. And let's look at its link. Look, the page for Mo, who is one of the Three Stooges, the page for Mo is getting its rules from a different place. It's not getting rules from the page that's called style.css. Apparently there's another page called mo-style.css. Oh, looky right here. So what I did there was I made a new, I said add CSS, and I renamed it. All right, it wasn't originally named that, but I renamed it. I said add CSS, I renamed it, and I made a whole different set of rules. Oh, so that's, I mean, you can do that if you want, but again, I'm not going to lie to you, it's more work because you have to write a whole different set of rules, right? You have to, you have to code in a different set of rules on this page. So the mo-style.css is different from the style.css. Those are two different pages. They have different rules. And so the mo page, mo.html, is connected to mo style. I hope that makes sense. Hope you're seeing. And again, you don't have to do that on this assignment today if you don't want to. You can do it the way I just showed you a minute ago over here. This is the one that I showed you earlier where, okay, so we just have one style sheet. We only have one CSS page. It's called style.css, and we have connected it to every page in the whole site. So all of the pages are playing by the same rules, and that is totally okay. That's the faster way to do it, because you just write one set of rules, and then you take that link command right there and get it copied and pasted into the head. It's got to be in the head of every document. Okay, well, so, I probably chatted a lot there. I'm trying to explain how it works. I'm trying to show you options. So that's the end of this demo. It is your turn to go try it. Give it a shot. Let me know if you need